What's up, YouTube? Poor Man Podcast back with another video. Today's video is going to be Lana Cries remembering humiliating things she did. This is a clip from Lana Rhoades. Lana Rhoades is, for those who don't know, a adult actress. It's similar to calling a drug dealer a curbside pharmaceutical technician or something like that. It's just one of those things people do. A curbside pharmaceutical representative is a drug dealer. It's just one of those things. Like, you know what it is. All right. But I know I've been doing a lot of these videos, but I just think it's really interesting that the sexual liberation movement teaches that when you have sex, there's just no regret and no consequences to having sex openly. But when you dig deeper and you look at the people who have done it professionally and have amassed the amounts of wealth that they have from doing it, you see that there are tons of regrets, even if you're successful, right? So I couldn't imagine how it would feel to sell yourself and to not be successful. I mean, that's literally the last line of defense, is selling your body, and that not even being worth it, right? But I'm not going to hold y'all up. Let's get into the video. Lana Cries remembering humiliating things she did. Y'all know, like, subscribe, whatever. Let's get to it.
When it comes to that, so what I was talking about, like being pressured to do like more and more things, more hardcore things. So there's two different main genres of porn. There's gonzo porn, which is the aggressive porn that you guys are talking about. It's the rough anal sex, it's the choking. And I'll go more into that. And then there's vanilla porn, which is what Olivia is talking about as ethical porn, is what I think you would consider.
Yeah.
It's just like classic, like missionary, like just like basically like artsy sex.
I was gonna say, wait, I'm kind of laughing the inside because I've had someone call me vanilla before.
I mean, I love vanilla.
Like, why are you
I
so
like
vanilla?
vanilla.
I'm like, what do you mean?
It makes me kind of hungry, but I've never even heard of the term gonzo, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So gonzo is the first level of it, I would say, would be it's just like there's no like artistic vision to it. It's just like
Yeah.
rough, hardcore sex.
Yeah.
And that could be vaginal penetration. The next level up would be anal penetration in a gonzo style. And then there's a level far more than that. And I would say that during my time in porn, I'm not sure what is like the hype right now in porn. It goes through like different phases. But during my short stint in porn, the really extreme acts were what was popular. And that's why, being the number one performer in the industry at the time, everyone wanted to make money off me. So they pushed me to do these things. And it just gets really extreme, like you were saying, abusive.
Did you ever go through those experiences where you had to do a scene where it was very aggressive and you just felt like...
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to go into too much detail. Like, honestly, some of my experiences are really humiliating for me, and I wish that they never happened. There's stuff going on, like people getting pissed on, men are pissing inside of women's vaginas, assholes, down their throats. Sorry.
Oh, don't cry.
Told myself I was negative.
Now I'm crying. I'm like, God damn it. No, don't cry.
I'm
It's
just
okay.
giving some examples.
I don't know. See, here's the thing, because I'm not a cruel person, so I get it, right? I get that people do things that they regret. I get that, right? But you still have to live with what you do. And I think that's the big part that a lot of people miss about this whole sexual liberation thing. This idea that you don't have to live with what you do is just absolutely ridiculous to me. It's very hard to be sympathetic towards a person who you know has amassed $11 million from doing something, and then once they get the money, they want to double back and say they hate the industry at which they hate the industry that built their name to give them those opportunities that they signed off to. All right, they're not forcing people to do this. These are willing participants. And it's interesting to me that we have to act as if these people, or like women who choose this path, we have to act as if they don't have a brain, right? Like, in a time where women the most are saying We want to be able to I get you want to be able to vote. You want to be able to be treated equally to men. You want to be able, but then when you make bad decisions, we're supposed to act as if you were a child. Right? If a 18-year-old boy chooses to go off to the army and he ends up getting killed or whatever it may be, that was his choice. If an 18-year-old boy chooses to go and sell drugs and he ends up in prison for 25 years, that was his choice, and he's going to have to live with that consequence regardless, right? So why, when it comes to women, when they make certain decisions, we have to then double back and then act as if they were a child, like they didn't write off, or they didn't sign off on all of this? You build your brand. You built your brand based on being a sexual object, and then you're upset when people look at you as a sexual object. That doesn't make any sense. Similar to the Lizzo situation and the whole fat acceptance movement. Lizzo has built her brand off being fat. Now, if she tries to lose weight, and she's done this before, you have people in her comments saying, you're fat shaming me because you're saying that you don't want to be fat, you want to be healthy. Like, that's absolutely ridiculous, but you reap what you sow. If you build your brand based on fat acceptance, you have to live by that law. That's one of the biggest problems I have with being liberal right now, is it seems to be who is the most oppressed. And if you don't go with everything that everybody wants in that movement, they kick you out and they exile you. Right? Like that's what they do. And that's because you build your brand based on virtue signaling, saying, oh yeah, everybody should be this and everybody should do. The moment you slip up, you're done. That's because you built your brand on sand. House of cards. So you can't build your brand on being a sexual object and then get upset when people look at you as a sexual object. That doesn't make any sense. Let's continue the video.
No, that's really hard. And I think, like I had mentioned earlier, it's just so important for young men to stop viewing women as sex objects, because I believe that, instilling that curriculum in school at a younger age. And they had actually said, there's a fact that says that the more a young person had learned about the use of pornography from their school education or sex education, is less likely to see women as sex objects. And I feel that's why, I feel so passionate about the porn industry, because I don't believe that they should be showing those types of scenes, because it does view women as just an object, and it's not okay to do that. Like, I enjoy watching porn, like, girl, like but like, I want to watch ethical porn. I want it to be normalized, and I want it to be taught to where it shouldn't be to where a woman is being abused and is, like the male is showing aggression, because that actually is going to translate into his relationships with women in the future, his wife. Like, it's actually statistically proven that it's going to show aggression in a marriage and a relationship, and that's, I mean, how is that healthy? Like, that's not healthy at all.
Well, a lot of it is like young boys don't understand, and they think that this is normal and that's what girls want. So they've probably never been with a girl before, and they see these horrible things, and they're like, oh, this is how to please a girl, this is what I have to do, this is what she wants. And then they do these things and they act certain ways, and they don't realize the effects that they're having on women.
Yeah, well, they do say that serial killer and rapists are the ones who are consuming these extreme types of porns. A lot of serial killers, when they've gone through their search history, they're watching like these abusive porn, and there's tons of pornography on their search history.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I obviously, like I said, I've watched porn. I do.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with watching porn.
But I've stumbled upon some videos where, I'm not gonna lie, I really questioned, why is this even allowed on the internet? Like, I felt very, like, I was just turned off. I was like,
see, here's the thing. And this is what I don't like. Lana is now trying to virtue signal as though she was not a part of the problem, right? You can't go out and create content that is hardcore, and then now that the content's out there, you've made hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars off the content you've put out, being a part of the problem, and then step back and say, oh no, people shouldn't watch this. Well, then why are you creating the content and putting it out there if you believe that people shouldn't be watching it? Or are you now a millionaire, so now people shouldn't watch it because you've made your money? And I agree, maybe when it comes to very violent pornography, I don't think men should be watching it. But I don't think a person that's creating that content is the person to have that conversation with me. That, and another thing is this. Too many times are boys put in the positions to compromise for girls. I say that to say this, because she said that boys should be told to not sexually objectify girls. They should be taught that. And I agree to an extent. I think that that's just going to be something that's natural. I think that boys are attracted to girls and girls are attracted to boys. So that's something that's, but we're not talking about the girls who sexually objectify themselves at young ages, right? I can't even go on TikTok anymore. I can't, I'm not really a social media guy, so I'm not on there anyway. I'm not normally on there. But when you do go on there, you see girls as young as 14, 15, 16 years old sexually objectifying themselves by doing these challenges. It used to start with little stuff like the little cinnamon challenge, right? Little innocent stuff, just kids just being kids, right? Now pretty much all that stuff it's all sexualized now. If we're completely honest with what we see, it's all sexualized now, and you don't know the ages of these people. Sometimes they be 16, 17, they don't be at 18 years old, and this stuff is just out there. But nobody talks about that. It's just the boys objectifying the girls, right? We don't talk about how girls use their sexualities and objectify themselves to make money. We don't talk about things like OnlyFans, which is pretty much a cheat code of life, if you do it right. Of course, you're going to deal with the consequences, but it's pretty much the legal equivalent of being a drug dealer. It is what it is. I mean, we can call it whatever you want, but that's similar to what it is. You're going to deal with those consequences, but you do make a lot of money from it if you do it right. Right? So we have these avenues where women can go out and sexually objectify themselves, but if men begin to look at them as sexual objects because that's what they've branded themselves as, men are somehow wrong and not the women who are out there portraying this message. Let's continue the video. Yeah, you know how this go. It always come back on the guys, right? It always does. Let's continue though.
Shut my laptop. Like, I can't even look at this. I was like, I cannot believe that this is okay. Like, this is not okay to treat women like this.
Yeah. Well, I know that I got emotional, but I do want to continue giving examples of some of those things just so people know. What were some of the things that you saw that you were like, wow, this is really crazy?
Yeah, I mean, there was one scene where I had seen, obviously the male was having sex with a girl, and she was literally crying because he was being so aggressive. Like, I guess, he was just too big for her. I mean, she was like full blown crying, and he was like slapping her, like, you like that? Like, I was just like, oh my God, how can this, I could not get off to this. I don't know who watches this too.
Some people have that fetish, and it's crazy.
Yeah,
and that's why
insane.
they put it out there, because they're like, oh, somebody will watch it, which is just like, no offense, but like, that's disgusting because obviously she's not okay.
Yeah. And I mean, to me, it really makes me sad because I think of the girl and I think, wow, like, I can just see it in her eyes that she did not want to do this scene, but she's doing it because of the reasons of, she needs the money, or this is a flexible job for her right now. She was convinced, she was pressured, she was manipulated into doing this by her agent because he, told her, like, it's either this way or the highway. Like, I can't even imagine how that girl felt having to do something that she clearly does not want to do. Like, this is not acting. Like, she's full blown crying. There's just no way she's acting and enjoying this. So
yeah, no, I've had friends who have been choked out so much that they've actually passed out during a scene. There's really just like crazy stuff going on that damages people's bodies for the rest of their lives. I luckily don't have any issues, but I've seen scenes shot in Europe where.
Okay, guys. This is where I'm gonna end the clip. The rest of the video is them talking about a bunch of things I'm not very interested in covering. But just final thoughts on the video. What we don't talk about is the amount of women who are interested in violent sexual acts. If you look up some of these surveys, if you look up some of these statistics on women that actually view very violent porn and fantasize about very violent acts sexually, the numbers are astonishing. And I'll let you guys do your own research on that if you guys want to go out and look at those numbers and see the very specific categories that a lot of women watch. Oftentimes, a lot of this is just put on the men, but I believe a lot of it is women trying to take advantage of the system and then realizing, oh, there's consequences to going the easy route, right? People choose the path of least resistance until you have to deal with the consequences. Anything that seems too good to be true probably is. My dad always used to tell me that. Anything that seems too good to be true probably is. So be careful when you're going out there in the world and you just doing stuff you think they ain't gonna have nothing because you ultimately have to live with what you do. And your view of yourself is what's going to be, it's what's going to matter long term. Not only for your confidence, but just for how you treat yourself, it matters. When I see people compromise their moral values, it sends them in a spiral a lot of times. And if there's not somebody there to help you or a way that you can learn to forgive yourself for some of the things you've done, it becomes very hard. And this is just for anything across the board. It comes from people who may have been a part of DV, maybe hit somebody that they didn't want to hit, maybe said something to somebody they wish they never said that they always think about, maybe just have done anything that you feel like you regret. To make yourself feel better, maybe you should go out and try to do something to make it right. You know what I mean? I would feel much better towards taking this seriously if she was making a campaign or something to keep women away from the sexual liberation movement and talking down. But you're also going on to podcasts and continuing to make money talking about erotic content. It makes it very hard for me to be sympathetic towards a person that's going out and complaining and saying, oh, people are looking at me as an object, when you are continuing to make money off of the experiences you had during a period of your life that you want people to forget. Till next time.